Hello, Toronto Mike. Here we go. Probably the same condition I was in that night I recorded this in 1994. Would you please welcome to Toronto Mike's Mike, Sloan.
What up, Mike? Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto, Mike. We wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1769 of Toronto Mic'd. Proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Toronto's Waterfront BIA. We talked about the Waterfall Festival in yesterday's episode. It's this weekend, it's next weekend. Check it out. Blue Sky Agency, the official distributor of Silent's quiet, comfortable, and customizable office pods. Create sanctuary within your workspace. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Today, returning to Toronto Mic'd, it's Jay Ferguson and Chris Murphy.
Hello.
From Sloan.
Mike. What? Hey, Mike, thanks for having us.
Honestly, I'm honored you're here. Every time I get to talk to members of Sloan, I'm excited. So thank you for making the trek.
You bet.
What did you two think of the cold open? I had to find them in White Rock.
Shall I contextualize that for the people at home? So that was... I don't even know his real name. I forget.
Neil Morrison is his real name, but we'll call him Brother Bill.
I think of him as Brother Bill, and that was from August 5th?
Yes,
early
something like
August,
that.
1997.
1957.
1995. Good Lord. 1995 at the, what was now called the Budweiser stage, which was then called the Molson Amphitheater. And it was to have been our last show ever.
Yes, that's right.
We decided that would be our last show ever, even though we had a show the very next day in Buffalo and about a month later in Windsor.
That's right, yes.
But he came out and gave that great opening. Would you please welcome to the stage, Sloan? But the thing was, after he said that, so that's captured from a video tape, and he said, Sloan, and then about 5 minutes later, we turned up, and we just had like armfuls of pedals and chords.
Yeah, very disorganized.
It was extremely disorganized.
Probably the most disorganized performances at the Molson Amphitheater.
And there was no one kind of at the helm, and
no guitar tech.
13 Engines had just been on for about an hour and a half, right. So we had to play for about 30 minutes, and they wouldn't stop. Anyway, they were fine, but whatever, they wouldn't stop. But so that was to have been our last show ever, and it was fun and cathartic and all that stuff, but it was bittersweet. But then we were kind of going again proper within a year, even though it was kind of a gradual process.
That's right. But the funny thing about that audio is we eventually used that on our next album, which was sort of our comeback record on Murder Records. And the beginning of it is at the top of the album and leads into The Good in Everyone. And then you hear crowd noise at the end of The Good in Everyone. And that's sort of Chris's joke that's just the crowd noise playing out. We still hadn't started
right, because there's 5 minutes gap. I know.
That's right. Not even edited.
Because
unedited, yes.
Brother Bill. So thank you to Brother Bill for.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think he had a rough night last night, and late last night he cobbled that together. I gave him my vision. I said, "Here's what I want you to do like that," and he did it. So thank you to FOTM Brother Bill. But
thank you for doing it. That was a thoughtful thing to do.
Thank
him for doing it this year, and thank him for doing it in the. At the time, it was
1994.
We were able to, we used it on our 1996 record, and it's a truly kind of iconic opening.
It's true, and a few years ago, I guess 2016, we were doing the One Chord to Another kind of anniversary tour. We were playing the album front to back, and we would play that tape, of Brother Bill doing that announcement, and then we would kick in. So
iconic.
he got to hear his voice from coast to coast.
Amazing.
coast. Yeah.
You guys are doing some press, so this is all going to tie together. But you just released your 14th album based on the bestseller.
Yes.
So maybe before I read some lovely notes that came in around this album, but how does it feel now that it's in the wild? I mean, I was playing it on the live stream before you arrived.
I'm always psyched to have a new record. I just think I'm happy that it's as good as it is. It's not for me to say or for us to say whether it's good. I mean, I guess we're allowed to say, but everybody would say that their latest stuff is the best.
Everyone loves their children.
Yes, but I'm just relieved, partly because of the way that we're structured, where we don't, none of us control more than theoretically 25% of what's going on. I could theoretically not like 75% of what's going on. Yeah, that's not true. But I'm just relieved that everybody's still trying and still bringing good material. I just think it's a solid record to add to our body of work.
Would you concur, Jay Ferguson?
Yes, you would.
Yes, I would.
Here.
It's exciting to have. It's exciting to have new music. It's also exciting to have a new tangible item to hold on to, which I like. I like the tangible item. I like records and CDs and things like that. And it's another opportunity to make cool artwork. Chris, did you bring it here? No, you got it right there. Yeah. This is radio, podcast.
Okay, so
this is live.
This is all tied
live
together.
gifting.
Listen, so I had a correspondent.
Is this on camera somewhere? No.
Yeah, well, there's a camera on you right here.
So did you see me sleeping earlier?
Oh yeah. Oh gosh.
I had a correspondent at Chorus Key for the performance last night at 6:00. In fact, let me just get you a couple of notes here, and then already I have. You have a hard out? Like, is there and that's a very corporate term I'm using right there. But is there a time by which you must leave this basement?
Well, I want
I'm not threatening to take
the sun to be up. I do have a car rented by the hour, but
because I just realized there's a lot of ground I need to cover here, and let me just start by reading a note that I got from a gentleman named Jim.
If you're just praising us for like an hour, that's fine. But
it's mostly praise.
If you get critical, I am out of here.
Look, I'm even wearing the band's T-shirt. That's how big a fan I am. I'm wearing my Sloan shirt. Okay, I got to wear it for the Toronto tree photo. This is from Jim Romanko. Hey, Jay and Chris. I was able to briefly see you guys play last night at Sugar Beach while promoting your new album. Good luck on the upcoming tour. Unfortunately, I had to leave after only one song to attend TMLX 20 at Great Lakes Brewery. That's the GLB Brew Pub at Jarvis and Queens Quay. You can blame Toronto Mike for that one. And I'll revisit this in a moment, but he says, in 2018, I saw Sloan in concert at Dundas Valley Montessori School. I was not entirely convinced it was legit, even after I saw Sloan written on a sandwich board out front. But then I saw your tour bus parked nearby. It was a great show in the small gymnasium. What is Sloan's connection to Dundas Valley Montessori School?
I guess it's, often we play shows in Hamilton, and there was a gentleman who was promoting shows who ended up doing them at that Montessori school, and it was in a gym, and it just made for a unique, fun, all ages venue, and we just kept returning there. Dundas is lovely. It's a lovely small town in the Golden Horseshoe.
Absolutely.
And it was just a great opportunity to play in a fun venue. And also backstage, all the sinks are about up to my knee because everything is there. So you're bending over.
You ever been in like a...
Jay likes to feel like a giant.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the urinals and the have you ever had to go to Pete visiting your kid's teacher or something? And yeah, those urinals are like really short.
Yeah, they're short. Okay. But anyway, was there another story to that promoter?
Only like just that our friend Dylan Hudecki also worked there for a time, and we know him from, he played in By Divine Right. He has an act called The Dill, and he called me the other night and said, hey, do you want to go I got free tickets to see the B-52s in Devo and Lean and Lovitch. And so I went with him, and we had a fun time.
What did you think? Because I have some friends who went who said Devo was very good and the B-52s were disappointing.
Well, I would never say that about them. Like I think that they are a band of people from outer space and people who are brave and openly gay from the South, and I just think that they're cool beyond. They showed footage of them, on Saturday Night Live in 1980 or whenever it was, and it brings me to tears. Like, they're so cool looking, and you cut back. They're standing in front of that footage, and they do not look young or that spry. You know what I mean? So, but they did that. I would never criticize them.
I think the main criticism was that they only played an hour and there was no encore, and they felt like maybe other stops on this tour got like an hour 40 minutes or so. I wasn't there.
Well, there were 3 acts. I think they played long enough.
Okay.
And they're also, how old are those guys? Are they
No,
70? Are they 68?
Right.
Mm.
Well, it sounds like a cool show. I wish I was.
It was cool. Devo was great, and I had never seen either of those acts before. And Lena Lovitch, about whom I know nothing, people were being receptive to her too. I would have feared that she would just be falling on deaf ears, but people were into it.
All right, so we're going to get into it, but just to clarify something Jim wrote in that note, that's why I wanted to lead with it, is that just a coincidence.
I did talk to that guy.
Yeah, but that was Ian
you.
Service.
Oh.
He was in a Byway shirt?
Yes.
That's Ian Service. Okay, so he was also at the event. So, and I was there. I was trying to see if I could catch your attention because I had to be at 6:00 at my own event. So it was just a weird coincidence. Before I knew you guys would ever be playing at the Chorus Key there by Sugar Beach, I had planned a listener experience at the GLB Brew Pub, which is down the street, Jarvis and Queens Key.
Oh, that's why everybody left early.
So
I was wondering why everybody was walking away. It's very
everybody
disappointing.
just made their way to the.
Please call us next time.
They
you
seemed
wanna host an
torn
event.
at least, but they did leave.
But Ian did tell me at TMLX 20, which was fantastic. Thank you to everybody who came out. He told me he invited you guys after your performance. He said you guys could come to GLB Brew Pub and I would buy you a beer and get you some grub. But none of you took him up on that invitation.
This is the first I'm hearing of that.
Right?
I think I may have heard that, but my son's band played up on Mount Pleasant last night, so I went
That's a good
straight
excuse.
from
Oh,
there
did
to
they?
there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Okay, what's the name
Busy
of your
night.
son's band?
They're called Borealia, and they played at the Smokehouse.
That's cool. How old's your son now?
Ribs.
18. That's my older son. Well, my son who plays music,
Okay, that's cool.
Francisco.
That's cool. All right, so another quick note. We're going to get to based on the bestseller, and then I have some historical questions for you. I have some audio. There's a diehard listener who sent in a clip, and you might recognize his name, or at least you'll know his former band. But Sven CDN wrote, "Oh, nice. I'm a huge Sloan fan, and they're always a great interview." No pressure to you guys. Looking forward to the new album, which leads to my question. Given albums are expensive to make and difficult to make substantial revenue from, what drives them to create new music? Don't get me wrong, I'm glad that they do.
We don't need to make new music to make to play in the summer and play. You know, we haven't. One could argue that we haven't had to make any of the last 7 records we made, but because we benefit from being a heritage act that has a repertoire from the 90s when we were on Much Music and on the radio, but we just do it because we're cool. Because why wouldn't we? It takes time, money, and energy, as Sven CAD or whatever CDN suggests. But we just think it's worth it because it's exciting for us to have new records in our hands and add to our body of work.
And luckily, I do feel like we do have enough of an audience that has followed us along, and there's new people joining all the time. And I think it is good to make new music. Chris is right. We don't need more songs to play an outdoor festival in the summer, but I think there's value in it, and I think there is, without sounding like the business side, but I think there is still money to be made from. We're lucky enough that we have enough of an audience that will buy our records and buy shirts and buy tickets that are related to a specific tour for a new album. So I think we're one of the bands that's fortunate enough that has an audience that is still willing to absorb some new stuff, and it makes business sense for us as well.
I'm glad you're still making
fun.
the new stuff, because there are I know some legacy 90s bands I still listen to, but they don't record anymore. Like, it's like you just get the greatest hits, if you will. Another band that I do appreciate putting out new music that I quite like is Lowest of the Low. So I just want to shout out Lowest Low, because they're still pumping out new material that sounds very good. And your new album, based on the bestseller, your 14th album, sounds very good. So here's a note and some audio from a gentleman named Rob Pruce. Do you know the name Rob Pruce by any chance?
Yeah. Who's that again?
He was a keyboardist with Spoons.
Oh, what?
And then
Really?
Honeymoon
Yes.
Suite.
Oh, wow. Is that right?
know.
Okay.
And he's going to be actually in this basement on October 1st. So
Right
that's for toast. Rob Bruce, good guy.
I'll
Turned
write
60 the other
I'll write
day.
him a note here.
Send him a note. You know what? Right on the wall. Maybe get a Sharpie.
Tell-
Right on the wall.
No lies.
Maybe I
Chris
already
Murphy
did.
was here. Okay. But he wrote, and then I'll play what you sent. He wrote, I'm headphone listening to the new Sloan album based on the bestseller, top to bottom, to prepare for your chat. Love it in all caps. He's loving it. But can I just play a little audio he just sent me like a half an hour ago? So this is actually Rob talking to you two.
Okay, so I'm listening. I just listened to the new album, the new Sloan album, and I love it so much. I mean, I just am really enjoying it. And the last song I love because there's a chord that I freaking love, and I had to figure it out and learn the song. So I'm gonna just play it, and I'm gonna show you because it's just one of those chords that as soon as it hits me, I don't know what it is. It's magic. Anyways, it's this song I already know. Right, so first of all, you get that great piano intro,
What?
which is reminiscent of my favorite.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We
It's a
love
little
that.
ABBA
We
thing,
love
but you
that
got a nice.
too.
Okay, so then the chords. Nice.
I'm
Beautiful.
loving this.
Here's the chord I love. It's a D over an E bass.
It's like
Anyways, you guys, I love this album, and what a way to finish it off. Thank you.
wow, that's
Wow.
amazing. Well, so we have used those chords before, and Patrick shorthand refers to those types of chords as the medical drama chord.
Like Grey's Anatomy?
Yeah, just like sounds like
The Key of Grey's Anatomy. That's the best review I've heard so far. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Hear
let
that.
this guy cook.
So he's
Right.
back in October 1. He'll be down here. I could get him to
Tell him
elaborate.
to do every song on the album like
So-
that on piano.
Well,
That's
I was
fantastic.
excited
That's great.
for him to get to the end of that song because there's a whole it modulates, but then
Yeah.
it gets back into the home key. Whatever.
Maybe you couldn't figure it out.
Well, here's what I pitched to you guys. I'll be
He
in your
clearly knows
Chris.
that.
I'll set up my studio in your garage,
Okay.
Chris Murphy,
All right.
and all four of you have to be there.
Oh, here we go.
But Jay knew I was going to pitch this.
Be
I'll
easier to
have-
get all four members of Honeymoon Suite in there. Or five.
Oh, I've
Five.
had them. I've had them. So I would like to have Rob do that for every song. Like he'll do that tearing part. He's a piano prodigy.
Yeah.
He was on way before Spoons as like a 14-year-old. He was on CBC as this piano prodigy. He's quite a talented musician.
Are you conspicuously saying Spoons and not the Spoons?
You know what? I'm not sure. I asked Gord Depp once. I said, "Is it Spoons or the Spoons?" And he says either or. So I don't know if there's a wrong answer. But what do you guys say? The Spoons?
Well, the thing is, there was a band called Spoon.
Spoon. Yes.
Yeah.
Who are after
Yeah.
Spoons.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So I would have always said, and I
Spoons.
still say the Spoons.
I feel like when I can picture the Tell No Lies 12-inch single that I owned as a child, I thought it said Spoons, but I could be wrong. I'd need to see the actual thing. Anyhow.
It's one of the great Canadian debates. Spoons or the Spoons?
They've got great songs. Spoons.
Yeah, there's some.
Well, one of their
the big
songs
ones.
was
Romantic Traffic was the big one of the big
Romantic
ones, for
Traffic
sure.
was
Arias
so
and Symphonies.
Right.
that was a big one. But
Yep.
Romantic Traffic had the memorable video because they filmed it in the subway system.
Yes, that's
Right.
right. Yep.
And Rob Bruce has a co-write credit on Romantic Traffic.
Nice.
Good for him. That's great. I love Tell No
It's
Lies.
classic.
That was the one I quite liked as well.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah, was that a hit in the States? That's a great song.
I don't know.
I don't think any Spoons songs were a hit in the
I don't
States.
think so either.
I don't say, but that's their problem. I'm now like
There's still time.
I'm now quoting the hip. They have that line. It's better for us if you don't understand. Locked in the trunk of a car. And now, whenever I hear about Americans trying to figure out the tragic hip, I'm like, who fucking cares? This is specific to the tragic hip. Like, it's better for us if they don't understand. Like, fuck them if they don't get the Spoons.
Can we swear on this?
Yeah, I just did.
Mm.
All right. Well, we'll get back to the States later.
Oh, the other thing I loved about Rob was the ABBA comparison. I think that's
That's
a good.
apt.
That's pretty high praise right there.
Yeah.
That's,
he's
you're talking
he's
about the
working
best.
right now on Mamma Mia.
Oh,
really?
no way!
The
Wow.
Broadway show. So he's got ABBA on the brain. I
Cool.
think, here.
We're fans for sure.
Now, a little again. I have another interesting note about another song on the new album, and I have some I'm going to play a little bit of, and questions I mentioned. Historical Sloan questions for my mockumentary I'm actively working on. But can you tell the masses about this garage sale you have every year? So I attended for the first time. I don't know how I missed it, but
Why don't you tell people what it is?
Okay, so there's a literal garage sale where people can buy vinyl and some you can buy I bought the t-shirt I'm wearing now at this garage sale, which is at Chris Murphy, your garage in West Toronto. Mm-hmm. And I guess you would publicize it via your Instagram page, for example. I know there's an active Sloan thing.
That's kind of all we do.
How many years have you been doing this garage sale?
We've done four so far. Yeah.
Okay. It was amazing. I thought it was amazing to be there. It was a long lineup. So, but it was a bunch of people I recognized and knew, and it was just a really good crowd. And I just want to point out, because I noticed this at Chorus Key yesterday as well. It's not just old farts like me. Like, I noticed there's a lot of youngsters kind of excited to get their Sloan shirts and meet you guys. And I noticed that yesterday when I went to see you at 5:30, but couldn't make eye contact with any of you.
Well, yeah, the garage sale is just something we did. In the first place, we did it because we had to get rid of our rehearsal space and storage space at the time, and we just had so much stuff. We threw a lot of it in the garbage, to be honest, but we had a lot of it. It's like, oh, I didn't know we had this box of never heard the end of it or whatever. Like we had, so we're like, oh, let's have a garage sale.
We had like rolls and rolls of posters and things like that, like more than we would need just for our own archive. You know, we have 200. Like, should we keep 50? You know, and sell 150? And we also had the remnants of 30 of the Twice Removed box set that came out in 2012. We didn't have the physical boxes, but we had all the contents. So we made these Twice Removed tote bags and put all the contents in it. So it was like a limited edition, 30 only, that we sold for, $100 or whatever. But it was Chris's idea to, originally I was like, oh, we'll just put these online. But then he thought like, oh, let's have a garage sale. So originally it was about getting rid of stuff. And then as it continued, like next year, well, we should have some new stuff. So we started so we started manufacturing stuff for each new garage sale, basically. So it's like a pop-up store that we do each year.
It's like a little record store day of just us and Murder Records kind of friends, but it's also like a little, Sloan convention.
Yeah.
And I kind of work the line, and Jay does the transactions, and the other guys fill in the gaps. Or
so I was hanging around that laneway, and I saw such famous Canadians as Mo Berg. He came by with his boy.
Yep.
And I didn't expect to see him because I didn't even know he was in town, but I saw Stephen Page.
Little Stephen, yeah.
And I met his wife, Matt Murphy.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know Matt Murphy lived here.
Oh yeah, he lives just down the street from me.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And on that note, I do want to offer my condolences, because since you were last here, Chris Murphy, I know Henry Sangalang passed away.
Right. Well, Jay and I both played with Henry prior to Sloan in our group called Kearney Lake Road. Yeah. So it was horrendous. But I went up to he had on his, so I forget when he died, early in this year. But in June, on what would have been his birthday, June 1st, right the day after that garage sale, Matt and I flew up, and we did a couple of Flashing Lights songs, and Steve Pitkin and Gavin Deanda. So it was, we were laughing a lot, but we were crying a lot. It was heavy. Yeah, it's too bad. I was
reading what you wrote online. I'm sorry for your loss, because no Kearney Lake Road, no Sloan.
That's true. Mm-hmm. And I will, just a side note, I saw a guy the other day. There's a group that also have a record coming out today called Absolute Losers. They're from PEI, and we've kind of befriended them. And when I was at their last show here at the Baby G in Toronto, I saw a guy that I knew, that we both knew, Jay and I, we knew from the Kearney Lake Road days, and his name is Chris Vauture, and he said, oh, I have all these old negatives of early Sloan and Kearney Lake Road. So I went over to his house, and he had kind of like a big shoebox full of stuff, and he gave me a bunch, and I scanned a bunch of Kearney Lake Road stuff and early Sloan. It was great. So I was happy to have all that stuff.
That's cool. When we alluded off the top, we talked about the last show in 94. Here we are talking in 2025.
Well, that was 95, but it is
95.
Yeah,
okay,
but this is an even number after that.
That's so a good round number. Okay, but remind me, and I know this because I've chatted with all of you, but Andrew Scott was the impetus behind the "we're done." Like he just said, "I'm moving to Toronto because I fell in love."
No, he wasn't saying he was done. He was just, but he did move, and I was pissed. I was just like, well, now what are we going to do? What about the band? He just, he rightfully or whatever, prioritized his love relationship, but I was too immature or whatever. I was like, what are you doing to us? Do you realize that we were given such an opportunity? We were signed to Geffen. We live in the middle of nowhere. We don't know anybody except for the Jellyfish Babies who made a record, and they made probably 300 and 250 of them are unsold. Like, we have a chance to do something. So I was mad. And so he didn't want to quit. He just thought he could do it all. And, I was impatient. And, other groups were coming. Eric Strip was so good, and Hardship Post just moved to town, and they were so good live. And I was just in a rage the whole time. I was like, they're getting so good, and we suck. And, I remember we went down and played New York, and we played a bunch of songs on stuff that ended up on Twice Removed. And I just thought we were terrible. And we were just unrehearsed. And anyway, so I basically thought that we were going to basically it would come to a head, and it would be like, we would either kick him out or force him to quit or whatever. And I was just already mad that was going to happen. And I'm just such a romantic. I was just like, well, I don't want that. But then after kind of sucking it up for the better part of a year, I was just like, well, if I have to forgive the fact that he moved away, even though it wasn't anything against me. It was just something else he was doing. And I just had to sort of accept that. And it's just like, well, if we can keep all of us interested, let's go.
Yeah, I was going to play a clip from Andrew Scott, and that's why I introduced him there, except now you said the G word, Geffen. So I just want to read another question I'm curious about.
Did you get David Geffen?
And here he is.
So, as you guys know, since you were each here, you were here separately, although your last appearance, Chris, was with Stephen Page. So people can find a Jay Ferguson episode, you can find a Chris Murphy episode, you can find a Chris Murphy and Stephen Page episode, but you can also find a Patrick Pentland episode. And this question says, I would love to hear Chris and Jay comment on Patrick's dissatisfaction with Twice Removed and his thoughts that they should have made something more like Weezer's Blue album, assuming they'll respond as Andrew did, but it would be good to get them all on the record.
What did Andrew say?
Andrew said that he didn't like Twice Removed, and then he said the same label, I guess, had the Blue album from Weezer, which was produced by Rick Ocasek, and he said when he heard that, he realized that was the album that Sloan should have made.
Wait a minute, that's what Patrick said.
Patrick said this.
That's not what Andrew said.
No, this is Patrick. Patrick.
I thought you said that.
No, I was going to go. I switched it up because you said Geffen. I'll come back to Andrew in a minute. This was Patrick.
Okay.
Dissatisfied with Twice Removed.
I know that that hot take. I don't think it's that weird. Like, maybe we should have strategically, but that was we all liked the Blue record too, but we just we thought that Twice Removed was a cool about face. But admittedly, the dynamics of the band that has become, or hopefully always was, open to all ideas. But I think at the time, Jay and I probably ruled it a little bit more, or there were rules about what you could and couldn't do. Rules that we kind of broke once we kind of got to one chord to another.
I think at the time, there was, once Nirvana was signed, and then our record had come out and stuff like that, and I just feel like there was like a glut of noisy guitar bands that were coming out, and it just felt like what was once exciting now just seemed like the middle of the road kind of thing. And from my perspective, the kind of record that maybe the songs that I had, I would have liked them to sound like would have been a little bit different. And I think there were other references instead of My Bloody Valentine and Sonic Youth and things like that. Maybe we were referencing things like the third Velvet Underground album or Fleetwood Mac, just a sort of different set of influence. And I thought, like, this would be a fun way to make a record that will stand out from the pack. And maybe people will appreciate that more. But, I do think that I think Patrick is kind of right. Like, we probably at the time, because Twice Removed was not necessarily accepted by Geffen, the guy who signed us, Todd Sullivan, was aware of the record we were making all along. But when it went to the marketing department, they're like, we signed a band that sounded like Smeared. This is something completely different. And we understood their perspective, but we stuck by our guns and just put this record out. But we sort of were aware of what we were getting into. But in hindsight, Patrick is not, you don't know. Hindsight is 20/20, of course. But Patrick is not incorrect saying that maybe we should have made Twice Removed for our third album, and maybe we needed another kind of album that sounded like Smeared to perhaps cement a reputation or a style first before we diverted from it.
Is it true, Jay, that Geffen wanted you to re-record the album Twice Removed?
I think they had told, Chip, who was our manager, he went to LA and was at the marketing meeting, and I remember he called us afterwards. And I think there was a notion like, would you be willing to re-record some of this? I think maybe make it more,
crunchy?
Au courant. Yeah, exactly. Or something like that. I don't know if there was any question about the songs themselves, but I think it was more perhaps the production and the style, and it didn't really sound. But ironically, the moment while we were recording Twice Removed, Crooked Rain by Pavement came out, and to me, I was jealous of it. I was like, wow, this sounds cool. But when I listen back, like Twice Removed shares a lot more in common with Crooked Rain, which got a 4.5-star review in Rolling Stone. It has a lot more in common, I think, or Twice Removed has a lot more in common with that than Stone Temple Pilots or something like that, or whatever.
I just want to say of that, when Jay rightfully references, Velvet Underground, Third Record, or Plastic Ono Band, we were into that, but like Patrick was never into that.
Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to speak for everybody.
No, I mean, whatever. I don't mean to call you out, but I just mean, Patrick's point is like these were the influences of Chris and Jay, and maybe somewhat Andrew, but Jay and I, had been playing music together since '87, and even little things like Andrew was born in '67, Jay and I were born in '68, Patrick's born in '69, so who's the younger guy, and when we maybe I've told this story before, but like when we kind of let Patrick loose, basically, or when he let himself loose, with specifically with The Good in Everyone and the big guitar solo in that, we were still having trouble letting go of the reins in a way. It was just like, Jesus, listen to this.
I remember when he was recording that in the studio, I was like, oh my God, what the heck is that? That doesn't sound like...
talk to him, man.
No, I remember lying on the floor and just watching him. But the way it turned out, it's fantastic. The Good in Everyone is excellent, and that I love it. I think it's great.
And whether or not we love it, and we do, I think when somebody said, what's the archetypal Sloan song, to me it's that. And ironically, that was the thing that I thought was getting away from what we set out to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I just mean like just allowing him to do that, and just allowing it to also be his band.
Mm-hmm.
That was an important step to have done. And it's, another reason that we're still here. And also, a reason that, that Patrick was able to have the confidence to write the songs that, let's face it, have made us the most money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw the iced tea ads.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But
Patrick already had written "I Can Feel It," and I don't think that he was felt like under the gun to make it a certain way. Although he might say that I've worried now that he wanted it to be bigger guitars. This is for Twice Removed, and I also think that "I Can Feel It" is as good, or that might be the best Sloan song.
Yeah, it's great
in the catalog. It's fantastic.
Yeah. All right, I need to drill in a little bit in the way that you guys create your albums. Like, so and it's smeared and then everything since. So the latest album, everybody, based on the bestseller. We will get back to more based on the bestseller chatter. But Andrew Scott, I'm just going to play a minute of Andrew in this very basement earlier in 2025, talking about how you guys collaborate, and then I'll have a follow-up question. So that's kind of the perception out there, is that the four of you bring songs to the table for albums. Like, that is the perception. Like, that's
how we do.
But that's not necessarily how it was when Smeared was coming together.
It was a lot more. There was a lot more. Say, Chris would bring a lot more songs to the table, and everybody would just kind of fall in. However, it seemed like it made sense, and there was no real roadmap that we had like in terms of aesthetic, or there were the bands that we were all kind of influenced by at that time, a lot of alternative bands from America or UK or whatever. But then there was also, everybody kind of agreed on the Beatles and the Who and stuff like that. So we were just having fun at this stage. There was no expectation from any of us that this was going to turn into anything other than maybe we'll play a show or two and make a cassette tape and give it to our friends or whatever. Like, we never thought for a minute that we'd still be doing it today and making a living off it.
Okay. So I guess my question is, it sounds like, and you guys can tell me if you agree, but it sounds like when Smears came together, it was like the four guys in a room kind of maybe working together. And it sounds like every album since then is everybody brings songs to the room and then you work it out. I'm wondering why did that collaborative style change? If it did change.
Well, part of it was that when Andrew moved, then we were making demos and, I would play the drums and maybe we would send him a tape of here's what we're working on. And then he might send a tape of what he's working on. Certainly for when we did One Chord to Another, the third record, he was living in Toronto. We were actually broken up at the time, or, we hadn't been writing together. We had been playing some shows, but we hadn't really written together in over a year. And then Jay and Patrick and I were getting together. I was playing drums. I had seen Supergrass that summer, and I was really into that style of drumming, that guy Danny, and I was playing all the demos kind of like that, and we were sending them to Andrew. Then he came down for Christmas and banged out all the drums in one day and kind of copied my style, but made it way better because he's amazing. And I don't know what my point is, but sorry, we had all kind of just been writing separately, and we were just encouraging. Yeah, so yes, we did a lot. It was a lot more jammy, but really, before we even made the second record, we weren't living in the same town anymore. So that's just kind of how it evolved. No, we made a concerted effort to make sure that we all played our respective instruments when we made our seventh record, Action Packed. But you could, and which is fine, and I like it. I think it's good. But you could also argue that it is kind of the most unidimensional of the records. But it was a fun experiment. I didn't like it for a while at the time because our schedule was slowing down, and that was our latest record for 3 years, and it was driving me bananas. But there's nothing wrong with it. It's interesting. But there's no Andrew songs on that record. It's the other thing that's not technically. I would dock a point. I would dock a star.
You lose points for that. Okay, Jay, what do you how would you describe the collaborative process for the four members of Sloan for this 14th album based on the bestseller?
I think it's kind of different for every. I think I would say for Chris's songs. Well, Chris is here; he can speak for himself. But maybe he would work out a lot.
Pretend he's not here.
Yeah. So that guy, I would say he probably has a lot of parts worked out for all of the elements of his songs, like the guitar part, the bass part, vocals, like probably his demoed harmonies and things like that already. Andrew on his songs, he'll often play all of the instruments, but then get. He knows all his parts, but then he'll get Chris and perhaps Gregory, who plays keyboards and records with us. Gregory McDonald will come in and put harmonies all over the place on Andrew songs. Patrick, it's different. Patrick is very insular. He has specific. He's the guitar player, one of the guitar players in the band, and he's very particular about the way he wants his to sound and the bass and everything. And he's usually making pretty fully formed demos. And he'll record guitars at home and bring them into the studio. So he can be very particular like that. And he'll get harmonies and stuff. For me, I'm particular, and I know what I like and what I want to hear. But I will lean on Chris, or I'll give my demos to Chris ahead of time, or hoping that he would listen and just be like, "Oh, I like this. Let's pursue this song." Or, you know what, that chorus just switch. What?
Which has never happened. I've never said I liked any of this.
That's true. Yeah. So I've had to fight to get my songs on the album.
I hate this one the least.
Yeah, that's right. That's what usually comes out. And also I really don't have great bass ideas. I like Chris's bass playing. So I'll say like, what do you want to do? And he takes the time to come up with a cool bass part. I'll listen to arrangement ideas and he'll come up with good harmony stuff. So I feel like for my songs, I tend to feel like I collaborate with Chris, or will listen to what he has to say, and Andrew played drums on one of my songs this time. Chris played drums on the other two. It's sort of that switches around. So anyhow, it's very insular, each one, but with different degrees of involvement of other band members. And I like to think that sometimes I'm not open-minded, but I like to think I can be open-minded about certain instruments that I'm not great at, harmonies and bass playing and stuff.
There was a drum approach to the lead track, Capital Cooler, that we arrived at after, and you had already kind of gone way down the road of demos, and you're like, oh, I don't know.
That's true.
And you kind of got whatever. I was excited about the different drum beat and the Susie Q beat, and
the song he's talking about is Capital Cooler, which is the first song on the new album, and originally it was just like a straight rock beat throughout the song, and we were jamming on it at a sound check one time last fall, I guess, and I think Gregory was even on the drums for a minute, and Chris was playing the bass line, and I feel like Gregory couldn't hear the guitar, but he could hear the bass, and I feel like the drum pattern that he came up with really went along with Chris's bass part that I thought was great, and I was like, oh, I don't know if that goes with the guitar and all that stuff, and it was kind of a beat that it wasn't especially my thing, but Chris was excited by it. Chris was excited. Gregory and Andrew, I was also like, do you like this? Like, he was like, well, it's kind of a different thing that we don't play all the time. And this is more fun to play. So I just sort of said, okay, well, let's pursue that.
And
I like
to your credit, you went with the enthusiasm of the others.
I mean, it's hard to fight upstream if you're like, this is going to be great. And everybody's like, I don't want to do this. I would like, I like to think that I will, that I would appreciate the enthusiasm of the others or the push in a certain direction that would make it fun for everybody.
But you also the other thing it's you don't want to be shooting down people's ideas either. I'd like to think that we spend enough time. I like to kind of get in and get my ideas in to everybody's songs, and but I don't take offense if they're not done. Sometimes I think you're dumb. This is a good idea, but I know that it's not up to me. But I like to, but I get in with everybody. Like you're good. You let me play bass and sing all over these things. Patrick is a little more guarded. Like I'll say something and then he might just immediately say no, and then I'm like, well, maybe if he waits a week, he'll think about it. So he was cool about it too. And Andrew writes in a weird way where he just writes a bunch. He'll write a whole song. He'll have it all figured out, and he doesn't know what he's going to sing on it yet. Like it doesn't have anything to do with any kind of melody. I'm like, what are you going to sing over this? And like, yeah, I don't know. What? And sometimes I'll email him ideas, and he's like, oh, that's a good idea, and he'll just take it from there.
Okay.
And whatever. I'm not taking credit for it. I just trying to turn him on to something. It's like, this is exciting. Like, what if you did this? And he's like, oh. So he's good about going with it too.
Okay, I have more questions, as you can imagine, but I want to play a clip from Patrick.
I don't think you've been listening to others for the last 5 minutes.
You could probably quiz me, and I'll nail it. I do want to just quickly give you some gifts because you're here, and then we'll get into a Patrick clip, and that'll lead to another question I have for you too. But Great Lakes Brewery did send over some fresh craft beer for you. Since you didn't drop by the GLB Brew Pub at TMLX 20 yesterday, they sent over some beer for you to bring home with you today.
Nice.
Thank you very much. Did they send a hamburger? Where's my hamburger?
That's at Jarvis and Queens.
Okay, I'll go pick it up. 11
Lower Jarvis Street. I also have in my freezer upstairs a large beef, a meat lasagna. It's beef, but frozen lasagna from Palma Pasta.
Oh, I've had that before. It's really good.
Jay, did you get one last time you were here?
I did. I got it. Okay. I got one last time. Thank you very much.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes, thank you very much.
So you're going to enjoy it again. So, and let me just take this opportunity to tell everyone, including you two, that the next Toronto Mic'd listener experience, which will be the 21st TMLX event, is happening the last Saturday of November. So that's November 29 at noon at Palma's Kitchen in Mississauga. So show up. We're going to do a live recording. If either of you showed up, you jump on a mic and say hi to everybody. We'll all be in a festive mood, I'm sure. And Palma Pasta will feed everybody, and I will bring fresh craft beer from Great Lakes. No charge. Just come out, enjoy the afternoon at Palma's Kitchen. Again, November 29 at noon. Be there.
What day of the week is that on?
That's a Saturday.
You should be doing Palma Sunday. Is that too Catholic?
Oh, that's I was raised Catholic.
There's
I know
time to-
about
there's
the
time to
Palma,
move it.
the Palma Sunday. That's a good idea. I'm going to raise that with the Pachucci family. Absolutely. And you
Jeez,
guys were
don't
playing.
You can have
Don't
like
mention my
Brian
name.
Brian De Palma movies in the background.
Yeah.
There you go.
See, you guys are creative. I have, you guys were playing of the measuring tapes. That is courtesy of Ridley Funeral Home. So you each get a measuring tape.
Oh, great.
Measure
That's
what you
good.
wish, Jay and
Yeah,
Chris.
I wanted to do some renovation at home, so this is going to come in super handy. There you go.
Absolutely.
I'm measuring something right now. Okay. And I'm done.
I won't tell the listenership what Chris just measured. I can't believe he took it out. Okay.
There was a camera on and I wasn't. It was
Below the fold, though.
Oh.
Patrick had this to say, and I'm going to play it for you. It's about 90 seconds, and then you're each going to react to this. Sloan's got 4 guys going at it. Do you think it works against you that you don't have one front man, like REM's got one guy in front?
100%. That's, of course, the music business isn't built for 4 people. You can't keep going back to the friggin' Beatles. That's my problem, is like everybody keeps acting like that's something that you could do, or maybe no, that's just, again, that's a whole other thing. That's just a pop thing, like a boy band thing, and that became something else. But like with, you need to have no label is prepared for a band. No major label in America and the US gave a shit about a band with multiple singers. They just want a star. They want to push the Scott Weiland or the Chris
Vedder.
Cornell or the Eddie Vedder. They don't want to push the friggin' bass player or the you know what I mean? Like, and with us, it was like, no, we want to be taken seriously. There's 4 of us. I 100% have said a bunch of times, I really wish we just put like Chris up front and just get him to sing, because like it's for label or whatever. I pushed against it for a while. I didn't like the fact that, like, when we were with Sony, I felt like he got a lot of favoritism that really bothered me, because I had written songs that were being played on the radio, and then they were, giving him so much attention. But at some point I realized, oh wait, I remember what had happened was, like, he was being asked to go to The Edge to show them how to play Money City Maniacs. I wasn't asked to go. It was my friggin' thing, and they didn't ask me to go. Yeah. And so, and I was like pissed, and I was really mad. I hurt, because it was just like, really, I wrote that, and you're gonna get him to go do it? Like, I can't even go down. Like, I'm not. What am I? A hunch? Like the fucking Northern?
Yeah. All right, lots to unpack there, but what do you think about this? Patrick wishing that just put Chris Murphy out front, handsome mofo. Then it's more marketable having like an Eddie Vedder up there.
Well, there's still time. And he's not a hunchback.
No way is he a hunchback.
I'm just kidding.
He's probably correct. I mean, maybe that is the case.
We did make it hard for ourselves in a way.
I guess, yeah.
At the time, but I think that when you look at what we've done, it's understandable.
Sure, yeah. But I mean, his perspective, I didn't know that he felt that way. I mean, he said
therapy. I'll invoice you later.
Sure. No, but I mean, he sort of said, I've been saying it all along. It's like, I guess I hadn't noticed him say that, but I didn't realize that he had felt that. But I do recognize that perhaps that is he could be correct there. But yes, and he was going back to the Beatles, and that is sort of I've always said, like, oh, but what about the Beatles and Kiss? But maybe it's because they're more in boy band territory.
Cars did it.
Led Zeppelin.
Cars had too.
Yeah, Cars, the Cores.
The Eagles. I mean, the
Cars and the Cores did
Queen,
it.
like there are multiple writers and all, but Freddie is the guy at Queen. The Eagles had multiple singers.
Yeah, the Eagles did. Yeah. The Dixie Chicks. Sorry, the Chicks. Did they all sing? I can't remember.
No, Natalie Maines when they became big, it was just Natalie Maines up front. I think that's what helped them break, I think.
Okay, so I just disproved my own theory.
I think so.
Forget, I didn't say that.
I just saw the Lilith Fair documentary. So
right.
And I just had on, Paula Cole was on earlier this week, so there's a lot of Lilith Fair talk on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But,
nice.
Why wasn't Sloan playing Lilith Fair is what I want to know.
Well, the local Rabbits backed up Nico, I think. Did they?
Did they really?
Maybe.
I didn't know that. Prince showed up actually as well. He showed up and played with Sheryl Crow. So there you go.
I went one year. I saw Emmylou Harris. She was
that's
really,
cool.
Really, really good.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Well, the Pretenders played Lilith Fair, and I think only the lead singer is a woman, I think.
That's right. At this stage, yeah, I don't know if they've ever had another woman over the many members.
But she's iconic. Awesome.
If I may, now this is Mike talking for Mike, because I can't speak for anyone else. I'm glad you didn't just, we're going to make a big change for marketing purposes, so maybe we'll make more money from some big... Like, the fact that you all sing, to me is amazing. Like I fucking love it, but I do understand, like, the Tragically Hip, all the songs were sung by Gord Downey, but I mean they didn't break big in the States either. But geez, I think it's cool what you did. Like, it's artistic, and it's like, and you have integrity, and I'm glad you didn't remake Twice Removed too. Like, you guys show a lot of integrity, but I do find it interesting that if you could go back in time, maybe post Smeared or something, and just I'm just picking on you, Chris, because he picked on you. But
well, I mean, does he wish that when we made One Chord to Another that I had stopped him from playing that guitar solo and I said, maybe I should sing that? Like, do you think that he would have said that's a good idea? Like, I don't think so.
I think our band developed naturally, just the way it did. I think if you try and make a choice, like whether it was making, say, Twice Removed I don't know if that's a I don't know how I'm saying it here. I feel like if you listen to other people who say, here's what you should do to make it big, and it doesn't work out, then where does it leave you? You know what I mean?
Well, even
I think
more empty feeling.
More empty feelings. Like, oh, I did something that was unnatural. Our band was 4 singer-songwriters. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, I mean, maybe that would be great, but if we did that and it was unsuccessful, it's like, oh crap, maybe we should have stuck to our own path. Or what if Twice Removed became a massive hit in America by our own, sort of stubbornness and just wanting it to be released as it didn't. But I think you sort of have to follow your own path. I mean, there's so many bands that we know that even were on Geffen who, made a record and then went to the marketing department. It's like, oh, can you do it again? Like, we need one more single, re-record the whole album. Then they do that. And like, I don't know, get another producer, do it again. Like on your 3rd album, then they release it. They're like, okay, it's good now. And nothing happens. Right. Like, can you imagine how frustrating that 4 years of wasted time to not even get the success that you're promised because of someone else's opinion? That's happened to a couple of bands that we know. And so what do you do?
Well, the other thing I was going to say is like when the idea of our story being, we told Geffen where to go because they wanted to re-record. Had it just been me, I would have said, yes, sir. Like, I was just like, I can't believe we're here. Like, I'll do whatever it takes. I don't want to go back to being a messenger porter at the VG hospital. But, we had each other to be brave, and we had a manager to help us be brave, who was an arrogant, very smart man, but also he loved telling people to fuck off. And I think it's his favorite part of the job. But and we had a supporter supporting Todd Sullivan. The thing is, like,
Canada was also welcoming a new Sloan record. When we talk about Twice Removed not doing great, I mean, it wasn't massive. It went gold in Canada, but it wasn't. We're talking about the United States, basically.
100%. Yeah.
We had a bit more of an in-home support system in Canada for sure.
But also, like, I think Twice Removed went gold after One Chord to Another, maybe.
I think
it was an initial kind of failure.
That's right. Yep.
But
I don't think it was a failure. I think it sold more than Smeared did at the time, but still.
I think it was a perceived disappointment. But whatever.
Perhaps. Like, that's right. Yep.
We're a critical darling, though.
Yeah, and then beloved. I mean, and then I could get into the idea of, like, is it beloved because it was a commercial failure? Is that what critics really like the most about it? Is it commercial poor showing? I mean, that's not how I really.
But also, it wasn't like such also, in my mind, it wasn't such a commercial show. It sold better than our first record. Maybe it didn't live up to expectations, but I understand what you're getting at. But I don't think it was a complete tank to resurrect.
Well, I'm not here to prove that anyway, and I think Twice Removed is great. The thing is, the main components of, like, you can ask me anything and I'll try to come up with an answer, but we are still here, and I don't regret really anything. I mean, we could have done something that maybe would have made the money that we've made over the past 30 years come in a year, and then would we have been happier? Like, but we don't
even. But I mean, and my argument is, how do you know that? You would never know that. Like, what could you do? Maybe you would do something that someone would tell you to do that, but that's not always a guarantee.
What I'm saying is, like, even if we had, let's just say we made $1 million in 1994, or millions, we did make millions of dollars, but it took us 30 years. But you know what I mean? Like, we've been milking it, but and luckily, we like working. If you get all your money in the first couple of years, maybe you don't make a 14th record. Well, you definitely don't.
Well, I want to
so
explore
we've
this.
remained hungry. We've been getting, we get enough validation to continue, but we never get so much validation that we can retire.
Right, that's my joke.
It's kind of
I kind of want to explore this idea that you're intact, like a foursome. That when does Sloan
list off? Do you also have listed there a list of bands that have been together? Same
that are still active?
Do you have that
like
list?
You guys?
I'd be disappointed if you don't.
You too?
Yes.
Although they had a recent tour without one of the members.
It was the
Sphere.
the Sphere shows. Yes.
Right.
It's called the Biodome.
But here, so to introduce this, because I do want to
talk.
talk.
Logan's Run. I forget.
the
Renew.
Yeah, I believe so. Sloan's birthday is in 91.
Yeah.
Is that fair? Okay. So we're almost at 35 years of you guys being intact, the original lineup. It really is no small feat. I just get to throw the mic back to Patrick for a moment here. Okay.
No.
Just one last, this is my last
What's
Patrick
he mad
clip.
at now?
So I just
Is
want
he
to
in the closet and he's saying this right now?
Here we go. But you guys have 35 years of the same
That's what I've been
four
saying the whole
guys. Like,
time.
this is no small feat. Like, that's awesome.
It is. I don't think
You don't
we
think
were.
it's awesome?
Well, I mean, it's not like. I mean, we have done things to try to keep everybody happy, and we don't always get along. But yeah, no. I mean, the idea would be if somebody had left and then somebody else comes in and then there's another drummer and then or another bass player or another guitar player and then like it just becomes about a couple of people who are left behind and it's not really the same thing. And I think it would be different if like can you name me the bass player in Maroon 5?
No.
So like, but they may be the original guys too, but they're not writing songs and singing songs and doing things like that. That's why it's different for us, is because we're four front men fronting four different bands within the one band. If it was just somebody playing the keyboards in the background or something, it might not be as important. But it's very important for us because if one of us, if I left or if Andrew left or something when we've been unhappy, it wouldn't be the same band anymore. It wouldn't be the same band. Like we could go out and do it. We could get a new drummer or a new guitar player or a new bass player, but like it just wouldn't be the same thing. So it is very valuable, even as friends too, because more than friends, we're like family. We're like brothers or cousins. Like we don't always get along, but like you sometimes have to just they've definitely given me space at times when I've needed it, and then that's helped to keep things together. I think sometimes you just have to step away from people.
How's everybody getting along these days? You guys are like brothers, right?
I was laughing just when he said brothers or cousins. I just thought it was a funny.
He demoted you.
Yeah.
He's like, well, brothers is a little close.
Yeah,
Let's make it cousins. But
funny.
it does. And again, I'm just reading between the lines that through the years, you're not all going to be on the same page with everything, and that would be ridiculous and impossible. But how are you guys getting along as you release this 14th album?
Fine.
Yeah, it's good. I don't know. I mean, I guess we haven't been out on the road, but I guess we do a lot of summer shows and we've been together and whatever. Just everybody seems excited about, the new record or, interested in the new record. And, we get together and rehearse and I don't know. It seems fine by me.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know. I guess you could get really specific or something like that, but I think we're luckier than a lot of bands, I think.
I don't know how to take stock of that, but I do feel a feeling that I had as early as one chord to another when Andrew was, in my mind, kind of threatening to be out of the band, and then he sent songs that, in my mind, made me feel like he wanted to be there, and I feel like the songs that everybody have contributed makes me feel like they're all still interested. So that's about as good as an indicator as I can conjure.
Well, you're still together. You're not only making new music, which you can pick up now, the new album, but you're also going on the road. So I'm just going to let the listenership know that if you go to sloanmusic.com, you can see new shows. Sloan's got some show dates up starting October 16th in Sudbury, Ontario. So there's some Sudbury. You're going to Charlottetown.
Yeah, I'm from there. I was born there.
I know you are. And then you're going to Halifax. So there's some, you're going.
Jay was born there.
I'm from there.
Look at that. And then St. John, Moncton, and then you're going to the West Coast, some Victoria, some Vancouver, Lake Country. I don't even know Lake Country. That's exciting. Vernon, Sherwood Park. That's not far from where my wife is from. That's Edmonton, yeah. Calgary, Regina, Saskatoon. I won't run down them all, but you'll be back in Ontario. No, we're getting back to Ontario. This is Toronto Mic'd, and I'm building up to tell the Toronto Mic'd listeners, March 21st, 2026. Danforth Music Hall. Sloan. Be there.
The reason we chose the Equinox is because we share everything equally, and we just wanted. We're playing actually at sundown on the Equinox.
Is that true? Is that the Equinox that date? How would you know that?
We talked about this.
Every year. Spring
Patrick's
starts
idea.
on
At
the
the meeting?
21st of March, right? So, quick question about Guelph, real quick before I forget. So, Ian Service is the guy you met yesterday in the Byway shirt. At least he talked to you, Chris. He says, please ask Chris Murphy if he knows Bryden from Guelph.
Bryden?
From Guelph. I don't know what this means.
The answer is yes every time someone asks me on the air if I know them. Sure, Bryden. They have sort of brownish, blonde, black, blonde.
The answer is yes,
between
Ian.
5'2" and 6'5", somewhere that guy.
That's funny.
The birthday boy or girl.
May I ask about the, if you have any update, you may opt out of this one. I'm not going to pry any further if you wish to. Chris Murphy, this is for Chris Murphy, but do you know how things are between your Trans-Canada Highwayman colleague Stephen Page and his former band Bare Naked Ladies, which, by the way, also had 2 lead singers before Stephen left the band?
That's true. There you go. Yeah.
Do I know how?
Do you have any update on any regard? I know last time you were here, you had Stephen beside you. I just wondered if there was an update on any potential thawing in the Bare Naked Ladies Stephen Page relationship.
Well, I mean, how dare you? But no, I told you the story that Tyler called me after he heard.
Well,
Stephen
you didn't
and
say
I
it to me
on
in
here.
public, so this is my way of finding out if you're willing to put that in public.
Tyler called me and went back when Stephen and I were on here, and he said, "Oh, I listened to that show, and it was so funny, and Stephen was so funny, and it made me miss the guy, and you can tell him that." So that was a nice thing, a nice little olive branch. I don't think they have much of a relationship. I think Ed and Stephen texted when Brian Wilson died. And, but we did, Sloan just played with Bare Naked Ladies the other night, and, whatever, I'm friends with everybody, but we don't, I was texting Ed and Tyler, and they were like, must have seemed weird seeing us play all those Trans-Canada Highwaymen songs. Like they're just joking about it.
That's true. Yeah. The reason I asked that's because when you shared, we were at the, there's the Junk House album right here. We were at the Tom Wilson, the Beautiful Scars musical. That's where I bumped into you and your sister.
I saw him there. Yeah, my sister Allison.
You shared some stuff, but you share when someone shares something to you, privately. I don't put it on Toronto Mic'd, right? Without
you just ask them on the air about it.
But Jay will. I wasn't going to pry. If you didn't want to tell that story, I was going to move right on.
Okay.
But it's nice that Tyler Stewart heard that.
Yeah, it was nice. Well, he said that he listens to the show all the time and he loves it.
And I love Tyler Stewart, and I know that I can say that I talked to Kevin Hearn, who does have a good relationship with Stephen Page. So there are members of Bare Naked Ladies.
Kevin, I was on Stephen's maybe 50th birthday Zoom a couple of years ago, and Kevin was on there. Yeah. I see Kevin in town. I hang with the guy Kurt Swinghammer, and
Sam the Record Band,
exactly, and Don Kerr, and I play ping pong with those guys, and I see Tyler around. I see Kevin. We'll come to Kurt's house for Christmas or something. I see those guys. I see Ed less, but I text with him sometimes.
He's always flying. He flies.
Exactly.
He's up in the air right now, probably. Movie Vigilante wrote in, I saw Sloan perform at a wine festival years ago, and Chris stopped mid-song because he witnessed a man punch a woman near the stage. He summoned security to apprehend the man before the band continued. And now he shares that story, then he asks...
That sounds horrible.
And I don't even know gender of Movie Vigilante. Why do I assume this is a he? But this person says, what is the craziest thing they witnessed while performing on stage?
Do you have a good one?
Maybe that was it. I don't know.
Well, maybe this isn't the right answer, but Jay got a full glass of beer in the sternum one time.
Yeah, I think that maybe just seeing that coming towards me was probably the most unusual thing I've seen.
We got beer canned off the stage at Memorial University in St. John's. And also, how they serve booze or serve beer in red cups or plastic cups.
Sure.
They were serving them in cans, and full cans of beer are heavy, and empty cans of beer collapse conveniently into throwing stars.
Yes, exactly.
So there's a reason that they serve beer in plastic cups.
I was at an Edge Fest at Molson Park once, and Cake was on just before Nickelback, believe it or not. This was Cake, the Nickelback. The Nickelback fans were throwing everything at Cake, and they ended up like leaving the stage after 3 songs. It was really unfortunate. So sometimes it doesn't quite work. Okay, so I'm going to play one more clip, and this one is from... I'm going to save it. This is from Andrew Scott. Here, let me confirm for you guys that on the live stream, Rob Pruce has said it is all the albums just said spoons. None of the albums said these spoons.
Oh, really?
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, exactly.
Have him back on.
Thank you,
That
Rob.
was the best part. It's been all downhill since then.
I'm telling you, when we do that garage episode, I can fantasize about here.
Great.
Cam Gordon runs a Instagram account called Track Changes.
Do you know him, Chris? He said he's met you 100 times.
Cam Gordon's a good guy. When or did they start paying attention to the SloanNet mailing list in the mid-90s? And did they ever use SloanNet convos for free market research or vibe checks?
No, sorry, I don't have my dictionary here. Can you tell me what a vibe check is?
Well, if I
Are
could...
people digging your stuff? Probably.
Would we? I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like when SloanNet was around, I don't even know if I had a computer at home. Like I would go down to the Murder Records office and check my email. Like I had to walk from home to go to an office, check the email.
I remember these days.
So that's kind of, I mean, SloanNet was a very early internet message board going on about Sloan. I don't think I checked it regularly to see what people thought of our recent shows or recent albums at that time. I don't know what that would have even been. Twice Removed or One Chord to Another would have been that.
Yeah. It's 96, I think of it as.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great resource that exists out there, I suppose.
But it was
in an
really
archive,
interesting. We weren't really paying attention to it. And
No.
if anything, we were probably, Patrick especially, I think, was kind of perturbed by it because they would be kind of like internet gossip or something. It affected us specifically. I can remember, so this is 95 when we said we were breaking up at the end of 94, and then we weren't really telling the press, but we had told friends, and then of course, so it wasn't going to be in the press, but now there was essentially some sort of almost proto-social media. So people were talking about, well, Chris told me that they're breaking up. So it was getting into, it's like, is Sloan breaking up? And so that started, on a small scale, a little, controversy, but the sort of the online fandom, like our band goes back far enough that we were early in on that. Sorry, it wasn't us, it was the fans, and that's a story that's probably worth telling, but we're not the ones to tell it. But I know some of the people who were early in that. The guy who ran SloanNet, his name was James Covey, James R. Covey, is that how he went?
Mm-hmm.
And, those guys, Adam Rodenizer, the Rodenizer brothers, and Sean Pelly, and all those, and
Katrina
so.
Yep.
And Marnie, like they were all in early on that SloanNet, and talking about all the kind of Murder Records acts. And I have another just quick thing about that. I think the message boards that happened in the late 90s, early 2000s, I feel like they were, a lot of Sloan fans really love Between the Bridges, and part of me has just turned on to the idea that maybe part of the reason they love it so much is because there was so much discourse about it through message boards, and so many people kind of communicated that way. I wasn't communicating that way, but I think a lot of fans met each other that way, and dug deep into the analysis of music in a way that was beyond the article that they read in Exclaim or something.
Yeah.
Okay, quick shout out here to Blue Sky Agency, and specifically Doug Mills at Blue Sky Agency. Doug has forged partnerships with established office furniture brands like Silent and Green Furniture Concept and Rouliard, and he's eager to chat with any and all Toronto Mike listeners looking for dynamic and creative work environments. So write Doug. He's Doug at blueskyagency.ca. Let him know you're an FOTM, and pick his brain. He's a good man. And Recycle My Electronics. I just want to let people know that if they have old electronics, old cables, old devices, you don't throw it in the garbage. Those chemicals end up in our landfill. Go to recyclemyelectronics.ca and find out where you can drop them off to be properly recycled.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I want to get back to this new album because I just have a couple of questions about the new album, and it's called Based on the Bestseller. Are you aware, even though this just dropped, like I think it dropped at midnight, is that right? Did it drop at midnight?
You bet.
Oh my God, it just dropped. I can't believe how many times I've already heard it. It's great, but there is some huge controversy online, okay? Huge controversy. And we're going to lean in on this one, okay? So Far Down. So Far Down is a song on the new album by Patrick Pentland, am I right?
He wrote that one, yep.
He wrote that one here. Is it intentional or is it an homage that it has the same hook as Barney Bental's CanCon staple, Something to Live For?
I was aware that he was saying, got something to live for, a reason to do more, that was a Barney Bental song. I don't think it was a specific reference. If you look back, the expression got something to live for predates the Barney Bental song. But
I don't know. I think that's the first time I ever heard that.
Got something to live for.
Just kidding.
Yeah. But Your Honor, I don't think there's any...
No, I think it might be an homage. Like I know I need to ask Patrick this question, but I wonder if it's an intentional homage.
We have talked about it, but I don't think that he... Definitely not.
Huge
that's
controversy.
That's not his over. But
it's into Love and Raucous, Jesus and Mary Chain, and Barney Bental. Yeah.
Not Barney Bental and the Legendary Hearts.
Yes, just into the Legendary Hearts, not so much Barney Bental.
I'm unfamiliar of the Legendary Hearts' work with Barney Bental. I know their other stuff. Yeah. No, that's a cool song. But I don't think he's referencing it. But
I think cool chords and melody and stuff. That was good. Twists and turns, as you might say.
To Patrick's song.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think we're just going to listen to this.
It's a different song now.
Different song. I'm just going to bring up a fun fact I learned from Instagram, Andrew Scott on Instagram, and then it's going to lead to one last clip, and then final question, and then the biggest question of all. So this is an Andrew Scott penned jam, right?
Yep.
Yes.
No Damn Fears.
Text me every night. Don't tempt me, I just might. It's never been so expensive to find the time to come to your senses. I won't ask you for a lie. Black surf on an ocean warming, running into the fire. No damn fears.
There's a lyric in this song. If I wait long enough, it'll actually we can hear it. But it says this: ice raids and the death flag flying. This is the time to rise. The interesting fact that Andrew Scott revealed on Instagram is that I guess there's an error on the lyric sheet where it's instead.
That's my fault.
Is that your fault?
Yeah.
I wondered if it was an intent. Like I didn't know if there was any fear. I don't know what the vibe is.
Oh yeah, I thought about that later too. It's like, oh, maybe it's good that we didn't write it properly anyway. No, it's I wrote out all his lyrics of what I thought they were, and I wrote it to him, and I said, "Is this correct?" And he corrected me in a text. And I just had a whole bunch of different, corrections. Jay would have sent his corrections in an email. I didn't get to it. And when he told me that, I think he didn't really realize it until it was on streaming. And then he was reading it and he's like, oh God, this is all wrong. And he's like, is it too late to change? I was like, oh my God, yes, this stuff is printed. But I apologized to him and to his face and in an email. But it's, yeah, so it's worth making a second, I think even in...
Second pressing?
I think you have, off the top, I got a typo on your song
too.
Oh,
yeah, I think
What typo did you get on your song?
I don't know, it's like
less.
so instead of two or some baloney, whatever. Doesn't matter.
So the mistake here was I guess it says an ice race.
Yeah, I didn't know what an ice raid was, blissfully.
Yeah. Well, on that note here, let me play my last Andrew Scott clip here. That's No Damn Fears off the new album. But this here, let me...
Less than 4 minutes?
It's 26 seconds. 26 seconds. Has Sloan reconsidered playing, some of these border towns like Buffalo?
Sloan is one thing. I'm not going to the United States for the foreseeable future.
Well, you're 25% of Sloan.
Yeah, but I can't hold anyone else back from doing whatever one needs to do. But I'm personally not going to the States for minimum 4 years.
So I actually played that clip for Ron Hawkins and Lawrence Nichols of Lowest of the Low, and then Ron let me into some that there was a plan to have a Sloan Lowest of the Low double bill in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
It was canceled for this very reason here. So is that right? Like during this administration, Sloan's not going to play the United States?
We don't have a memorandum or whatever it would be, but we would have to. I don't think we can go without Andrew. So,
okay, he dropped a line in that episode. He said, there are great, lovely Americans, but he's not going to visit until you. And his line was, "Control your dogs, America." And I've been using it like it's a good way to explain everything. Like, there's great Canadians, but he says, "I'm not visiting your home until you control your dogs."
Mm-hmm.
That's Andrew.
I mean, I don't know what to say about it. Like
he said that, but yeah, sure.
Okay, so there's no Sloan without all 4 members right now, is basically what you're saying. So if he's not going to play a show in Buffalo, then there's no Sloan show in Buffalo. Is that what I'm hearing?
Not so far.
Okay, how to bring the convo to a complete stop there.
You did it.
I did it. Okay, one last. That was my goal this whole time. Okay, we're winding down now. I'm sorry for taking so long, but I've had these questions built up for some time, and I find the band very interesting, not just because of the longevity of the band, but how you have 4 frontmen, and it's a 25% each, and it's such a equal band. And so talented and so amazing, and I still love your music, so I'm so glad that you guys are here. This question came in from Tyler. He said, Andrew talked about Sloan time, this is in quotes, Sloan time, in reference to the fact that you're all busy people with families, side projects, and other interests. How do you determine when it's Sloan time? And has it gotten harder to get everybody on the same page for when that time should be?
Well, if by Sloan time he means getting everybody together, that's not that often. But Sloan time is almost all the time for me. I'm always working on something. I'm Sloan time right now for me. It doesn't make me unhappy or anything, but I just mean I spend a lot of time editing video and doing stuff, or what are we going to do next? And so I think about it all the time. Mm-hmm. And I do have other things on the go, but because part of having Sloan continue is to let people take time off. I can't push Andrew to do more than he'll do. And I get, he's kind of painted himself as someone who's like an immovable object, but whatever, he'll do some stuff. So sometimes we need to make some money, but
you got a big tour coming up.
Yeah. And we don't even have to go to the States, for example. It's not this calendar year. We wouldn't have gone to the States in this calendar year anyway, because we have lots to do. And, Sloan time for me is certainly every day, like part of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And, Jay and I talk a lot more than Andrew and I talk. We're always trying to think about what we should do next. What do you want to have at the garage sale next year? You can't have that conversation.
Do you have that date yet?
It'd be late May or something.
Probably, yeah.
But you can't have that conversation in April. Like, you have to think that, if you're going to manufacture vinyl, you got to, we kind of have talked about that already.
Or there's always thinking about, like, what do you want to, even as well as stuff for the garage sale, just like, do you want to do another box set? When do you want to do that? What would be a nice new deluxe item for direct-to-fan kind of stuff? So there's always Sloan work to be done that's beyond the brand new record or press and stuff like that. So as Chris, there's always stuff to think about and plan for sure. So
there's the kind of running it in the present, new record, what can we do, touring, and then when we've kind of done all those things, then it's like spinning the plate of like, do we need to manufacture more twice removed records? Because we just we're trying to yeah. We're like a small business, and we have there are manufacturing issues, there are timing issues, should we be up-resing these videos? They look terrible, and this kind of stuff. But it's all stuff I enjoy.
Yes, you're always on Sloan time. Even when you're you're doing stuff, because even when you're in Trans-Canada Highwaymen, you're singing Sloan songs, right? We're going to get underwhelmed, and we're going to get all these great Chris Murphy Sloan songs. So, Jay, you're always on Sloan Sloan time?
I feel like I think about Sloan a lot, or other times just working on. I mean, I don't have kids like the way Chris does, and the other guys and things like that. So maybe I have a little bit more free time to think about Sloan stuff, but also time to work on new songs. Thinking about, would it be fun to release a one-off single or a one-off streaming song, or it'd be nice to have a stockpile of songs. If Sloan makes another record, I'd be kind of up and running a little more than just starting from go. If it's like, hey, we have to start making a new record next month, so there's always stuff to think about and plan for sure. I think about it a lot, and I enjoy it too. Like I like especially the reissue campaigns that we've done on all the limited edition things, and I think we have more stuff in the can that we can release. It's just about how to partition it out throughout the next few years.
For the record, I'm also always on Sloan time. I just want you guys.
We kind of need like a little light in all our rooms, just because Sloan time is on now, or something like that.
Absolutely. Here,
little bulb in the corner of your basement.
You guys were awesome. I hope that was okay. We're okay. Chris looked like he got mad at me at some point at the end there. But
it's just
good to see you.
You got to give me a big hug after.
What do you say?
Big hug after this. Okay. Do you guys remember Mark Daly from City TV?
Subdivisions.
The name. Yeah.
Hey. I was going to ask you, I was going to play AI took so Rush had a big song called Subdivisions, as Chris Murphy just said. And I was going to.
It's the best song.
Never heard it.
It's a great song, but I'm going to play it, like 10 seconds of it or less, where the music is down in the mix and the vocals are up in the mix. Okay. So here it is.
How did you get this?
Subdivision. In the high school halls.
AI.
In the shopping malls. Conform.
When we cast out subdivision in the basement bars. In the backs of cars.
Do you believe?
We're not done. Cast out. Any escape would help to soothe the unattractive truth that the suburbs have. It's awesome.
Do you believe that voice saying subdivisions? Do you believe that to be a sample of City Pulse News on City TV from Mark Daly?
I thought that was true.
The band denies it.
Really?
The band said this, Neil Peart. I believe 100% in my heart of hearts that is Mark Daly.
Well, in the video, it's Alex saying it.
Alex lip syncs it in the video, for sure. But they say Neil's doing that vocal, and I believe it is absolutely a sample of Mark Daly delivering the news on City TV. Do you concur, Chris Murphy?
I do, but like I wouldn't put money on it, but I've always thought that. I like the story, and hopefully it's true.
Everybody go to sloanmusic.com and find out when Sloan is visiting your town and buy a ticket or two, and make sure you pick up the new album, the 14th album. It's called Based on the Bestseller. Thank you both for my vinyl copy. I'm going to maybe bring it with me for my picture with you at the Toronto Tree. And this version, by the way, of Rosie and Grey by Lois and Low was put together by the aforementioned Rob Pruce. So Rob's all over this episode.
He's talented.
He's great.
And shout out to Bryden from Guelph, okay, whoever that is.
I know that guy or girl.
And and that brings us to the end of our 1769th show. Go to torontomike.com for all your Toronto Mike needs. Much love to all who made this possible. That's patrons like you. Go to patreon.com/TorontoMike and become a member right now. I'm actually posting there. Great Lakes Brewery, thanks for sending over the beer and for hosting us yesterday. Palma Pasta, they'll be hosting us on November 29th at noon. I hope to see you all there at TMLX 21. Toronto's Waterfront BIA, listen to yesterday's episode about the Waterfall Festival. RecycleMyElectronics.ca, Blue Sky Agency, and of course Ridley Funeral Home. See you all Monday when Peter Gross, speaking of City TV and Mark Daly, Peter Gross returns to the show. See you all then.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Here's to another 17,000 episodes.